I have a theory called placeholder customer support. And this theory applies when you, as a customer, get the distinct impression that the company you are seeking help with, support from, does not seem to want to provide that support. And you get that impression not because they tell you we don't want to provide support, but because they demonstrate to you from their actions that they do not. And so really it's think of it as customer support by appearance only. So what will happen is there could be a live chat, there will be a phone number that you can call into, you may be able to email back and forth, but whatever the case is, you realize that it is now extremely difficult to get to get even a substantive response to your question. Now, there are some companies who engage in customer support where you will get a response, you will get a live person, but you will not actually receive substantive help that actually advances you to resolving your problem or issue, whatever it is. And I was recently reminded of this theory with Coinbase. I went back and forth with Coinbase live chat multiple times, and literally waiting hours on the chat for a substantive response and unable to receive one. In fact, many times I was unable to get a response from a live person altogether. There were a few times where I was able to reach a live person, but in that case, I still was not able to have my question answered. And in fact, multiple times the chat was disconnected or just ended. It wasn't even disconnected. It was just the chat ended on Coinbase's end. A few times I was able to get a call back from a live person. And the one time I talked to a live person, it was from someone overseas who was not able to help me with my question. The point here is not to talk about my Coinbase experience, but rather to illustrate that there are times when you are trying to get your question answered and you simply cannot. Another time this came up is with AT&T. I was trying to reset my account password and I was unable to do so despite the fact that they had a live chat and a knowledge base. I got caught in a loop where I was continually unable to access my account. And I was unable to reach a live person because it was after hours. And so I could not log into my account and pay my bill, which is all I wanted to do, but I could not receive substantive support. And then there's also, I don't have this up here, but I remember in years past when I would deal with HostGator web hosting, I was always able to talk with someone on live chat, but I was never able, or I was rarely able to get whatever question I had answered to my satisfaction. And so that comes up a lot too, is where you get the support, but you don't actually get the answer. And so what's happening is a lot of companies are really deflecting and rerouting you away from any type of actual support that they need to provide. And you can't, and most times, if you continue to persist and you keep going, you can eventually get your question answered, but it's only after exhaustive efforts where you have invested literally hours in trying to get your question answered. And so that may mean waiting on live chat, that may mean waiting on the phone call, but usually you can get your question answered. But at that point, right, like after you've invested, let's say, multiple hours of your time to get what would be a few minute question answered, you have to wonder, are they really trying to provide customer support or are they not? Another thing that's a common occurrence is where you are always told, the default message is always that we are experiencing higher than normal call volume or chat volume, whatever it is. In that case, then they're not actually, because that is their default response. So it's automatically, it's in fact, it's a lie because they are not always receiving higher than normal call volume. That's just their default answer. So that comes up a lot. And I wanted to point out one company that genuinely provides customer support, and it is absolutely amazing. This is phenomenal customer support, the best I've ever had. And here we can even see on their homepage that they do have the best support. Like they've been that a status has been bestowed upon them by at least one person here. But I've used this web hosting and I will never change because I can actually get my question answered when I need help, which is quite rare. And it is actual help. Like they actually look into the issue and have people who are capable of responding. What you see with a lot of companies is they are employing or contracting with people who can't actually provide real help. All they act as is a proxy for the knowledge base. So they really just go back to the knowledge base, and if they can't answer based on the script or the information that they have in their background, then they can't help you unless you elevate the ticket, let's call it. So, but this company, WPX.net Hosting, actually provides real customer support. It is the best I've ever had. Amazon. Amazon, I know recently, if I've had a problem with Amazon, with not a problem necessarily, but just a question, something I needed help with, Amazon, for the most part, has been helpful and has elevated their game to where they actually provide substantive support and you can get a resolution to your problem or your issue. Now, it's not always necessarily that you'll get exactly what you want, but at least you'll have the answer. And I think that's the problem I have with a lot of companies, is that it's difficult to actually resolve your issue one way or another. So if you can't help me, I understand. I understand in the sense that we have the end of the road and we have a finality to this. Here is the answer to your question. We are not going to be able to do X, or we can do X, etc. The point of this video is that with several companies, with a lot of this is actually commonplace. This is prevalent. With several companies, you only have placeholder customer support that if you are able to resolve your issue, it is very difficult to do so. And after, when a company is so large and they only dedicate so many resources and the reviews are piling up online to the point where they are aware of the customer experience when they are trying to get support, you can only conclude that it is purposefully that their customer support is purposefully set up that way, and they know that and they are okay with that. We know that a lot of companies don't actually want to provide customer support. They want everything to be automated so they can save money. I would suggest that in some cases they aren't actually creating a net positive. I think that they are creating a net negative because it's not only the direct cost to them, it's also the indirect cost of having customers who feel spurned for so many years, that reputation piling up, and then competitors watching this and recognizing an opportunity to provide excellent customer support. But a lot of companies don't. A lot of companies try everything they can to try to delay you from getting support, including having immediate and upfront and impossible to get around automated call systems where you have to go through and route yourself through the system, answering so many different questions, and many times unnecessarily so, with the idea being that you can be routed to the correct person. But I think in some cases, the automated upfront answering and the delay just to get to a real person is completely unnecessary. Even if they wanted to reroute you, they could do so more efficiently. So waiting on the phone just to get through a menu of options, that is another way that companies delay you. We've seen the answers that don't actually help with anything. We see the constant rerouting to the knowledge bases. With AI becoming more advanced, some companies have better AI responses, but AI responses still, for many customers who are looking for the exact answer to their problem and an answer that requires something beyond just a knowledge-based answer, they can't get help through this. So many companies have varying degrees of what I refer to as placeholder customer support. It's customer support in appearance, but not actually in fulfillment. You don't actually get that tangible, actual support that you are looking for. And this is commonplace.